really quick update. A couple of hours ago, pretty much like 2 hours ago, there has been a change that was actually announced by RicklessAbandon, and apparently they're working on a fix for at least a death rate for now. And a couple of really huge improvements have been made to the death rate. I really didn't expect this much to go into it because, to be fair with you, I was really happy with the fact that uh, that the reduction on the cooldown is on the second activation is actually it's lowered. We now have up from 1.25 seconds to down to 1 second activation, which is just perfect in my opinion. You didn't really even need more on the death rate at this point, but apparently they decided to add a couple of other changes as well. The missile speed is increased, which is a huge thing for me personally, because if you predict the first death ray, that's going to pretty much guarantee that you're going to get the second missile down. Now, one thing that I didn't really expect is an increase in damage, especially the fact that they're adding even more AP scaling to the second explosion. Now, again, this is the augmentations explosion. I'm not talking about um, the general damage of the death ray, because to be honest, it's still going to remain the same. But the scaling, the flat damage, as well as the AP scaling on the secondary explosion has been increased significantly. And by significantly, I do mean only by 20 damage on the last level, but at the same time, it stacks up with the AP scaling, so it's 10% plus 20 damage tops. It's definitely a really good improvement, and it's a really welcome one in my opinion. Um, so other than that, this is theoretically going to translate into a really easy time for Viktor to get his death rate down, because the difference between 0 0.6, which is currently on the live servers, and the difference between 1 second is pretty much non-existent. You will of course feel it, but in the heat of the battle, when you actually get a couple of CCs down on the enemy, it's pretty much going to be a non-issue. So at this point, I do believe that if the enemy is advancing towards you, you just put a gravity field down. If you have our allies, you will just throw the laser down. The slow of their allies is going to allow for the gravity field to take effect, and this is pretty much the perfect moment for the secondary explosion to do its work. And of course, the empowered secondary explosion is going to do even more damage. One thing that I wanted to see is, of course, again, the grounding effect on both the ultimate, or at least on one of them, the ultimate or the W, preferably the W, because like I mentioned, if the enemy is advancing, throw down the gravity field, hit the E, the grounding effect will prevent enemies from dashing away from it. The slow from their allies is going to allow you to actually keep the enemy fairly in place for 1 second, so you can actually get the secondary explosion after the stun activates in half a second later. So the synergy with their allies is going to be completely insane, and I feel like the changes are more than welcome at this point. This doesn't mean that Viktor is going to be a proactive mage at this point. He's still going to be a reactive mage, and he's going to be a frontline killer. His focus completely shifts. He's definitely not going to be a backline killer, although he will still deal significant damage to overextending enemies on the backline. His main priority is to pretty much allow his team to snowball, and just roll over the front line of the enemy. He's pretty much going to be the mage who. Well, this cleans a lot of the issues, though. To be fair, like, because to be honest, you had a lot of problems with the frontliners before, and at this point, in the live servers, you were kind of forced to flash in and sometimes even suicide for the backline kills. But right now, this is going to be a much more safe playstyle, and it's going to be a much more reliable source of damage. It's going to be a much more sustained and continuous source of damage. So when you look at it, being a tank killer is not that bad in a tank meta. I'm just saying, at this point, I will take this over being someone that can actually one-shot a backline with a single cast on his abilities. And sometimes you can't even do that, because Viktor's damage was very precise, or at least is on the live servers right now. So if you go for the backline, if they have something like a QSS and a BT or something that gives them like a small amount of lifesteal, they're just gonna pop the heal and you're not going to be able to kill them. They're immediately going to exhaust you, to stun you, to slow you, and you're pretty much gonna be dead. Um, But I think that, yeah, while the enemy mages are going to struggle with doing damage to your front line, and they're going to try to find a way, an angle to actually get to your back line, you will just be demolishing their front line, and once that crumbles, your team is guaranteed a victory. Again, Viktor is going to be the reactive mage. Viktor is not going to be the aggressive burster mage that he was. His damage is still going to be really good. Quite similar to the live servers one, actually. If you actually you pretty much need 2 seconds of CC, which is going to allow you to get the second tick of the ultimate, which ticks for insane damage, as well as a secondary explosion. If you have 2 seconds of CC, which is more than feasible in this method, pretty much everyone has 2 seconds of CC, and it's pretty much going to allow you to, if you're a good Viktor player, or if you're a good player in general, and you can judge the situation properly, you have good game knowledge of your teammates' champions and how they work, how long their CC lasts, you will be able to get a lot of damage out of Viktor, in my opinion, and you don't need really more than 2 seconds at this point in with the changes that Viktor actually has right now. So yeah, this is going to be pretty damn good. I'm pretty happy with the changes. I'll keep you guys updated, and if you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter. So yeah, thank you. I hope that Viktor, gets a couple of really nice changes. See you guys next time. Take care.